Going to make some South African rusks today. These are buttermilk rusks. They've evolved quite a bit from the traditional way that was just used to preserve bread. They use this way to preserve bread since the late 1690s. It's while you're traveling long distances without refrigeration. These days it's used as a breakfast snack or a quick meal. They essentially double baked bread dough, and the closest thing I would say I've had to it that is not South African was the Italian biscotti. Add the butter. And then we melt the butter. Cool down a bit and add the sugar. Mix it in well and preheat the oven. Add the buttermilk. Add the eggs. Add the flour. Baking powder. Lemon juice. Salt. Wheat bran. Oats. For the optional extras, I'm going with sunflower seeds and some raisins. That's all the ingredients. Now we just mix it well together and put it into the pans. You want it about this consistency, fairly sticking together, well mixed up, and then in my case I'm going to divide it nice and scientifically into two and spread it over two pans. There they are, and I'll just flatten them and pop them into the oven. You can line it with some baking paper, but you saw how much butter went into it. There's no way it's going to stick to that. There it is. Try and get it flat and a nice consistent thing, and then pop them into the oven. I have a little thing here to cheat and assist me, but it's not necessary. It just makes it easy at the end. Yeah, just press it down firmly and it makes the lines for you. I guess you can cut in your own lines before you put it in the oven. That will make the same effect. There they are, halfway through. I just switch these around, and maybe every 5 minutes or so I'll turn them a quarter. Just at the first quarter turn, they seem to rise nicely and they're starting to brown. Just swap the top and the bottom ones. They look nice and brown. I'm going to turn the oven down by 20 degrees for another 20 minutes and then let them cool down. Out of the oven, I'll just let it cool down for 10 or 20 minutes and then I'll flip it over to come out of the tray. They came out nice and brown, and I'm sure they'll be quite yummy. The rusk has been cooling down for a little bit. I just flipped it over to lift the tray so it can cool down a little bit faster. As you can see, there was no need for the paper. There's quite enough butter in there to not make it stick to anything. This is where the pre-slicing or my little cheating system comes in handy. Is with this part where you have to break it up to put it on the rack so you can dry it overnight. Just comes off nice, and there you can see it breaks like that. Break it into little pieces, put it on the rack and then into the oven. Works better with two hands, but just so you can see, it comes off quite easily. If they're a little bit stubborn to come loose, one thing that always helps is a sharp knife like the Opinel number 8 always comes in handy. There they are in their overnight home. They'll dry nicely at between 80 and 100 degrees. You can always set the timer for 2 hours and set it again in the morning for another 2 hours if you feel it needs more drying. Also just use a wooden spoon to keep it ajar. That helps the moisture to escape. The next morning they dried out quite nicely. I'll cut one just now to make sure that it's nice and dry. And finally, it is time to enjoy your rusks. It's nice with a hot drink. I prefer it with rooibos tea. It's good with coffee. It's better if the beverage has milk in it, but it's also doable without milk. I have this packet of commercially available rusks in my cupboard. If you look at the ingredients, it differs a bit to the ones that I've used. It is more convenient, but I do believe that the effort pays off. I'll put some Amazon affiliate links to the description to maybe the oven gloves or the little stirrer I used. If my one subscriber buys these, I'm sure I'll get a cut off of it. In saying that, I think you only get paid once you have $10 worth of profit or something. I'm happy to answer any questions. Please ask below in the comments. Have a nice day.